Whenever you see a big rig barreling down the highway, do you ever stop and think about the business that keeps it moving and, more importantly, making money? Well, it's this whole world of logistics, and right at the center of it is a role you can do from pretty much anywhere: the freight dispatcher. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how you can become the real engine of this huge industry. So, this is the image we all know, right? The truck, the open road. It's iconic. But honestly, that truck and its driver, they're just the very last step in a long, complicated chain of events. The real story, the part that makes this whole trip even possible, happens way before the key ever hits the ignition. And this is exactly it. This is where the real action is. All the planning, the negotiating, the frantic problem solving, it all happens off the road. This whole business isn't really driven by horsepower. It's driven by smart communication and thinking on your feet. So let's get into it. What exactly is a freight dispatcher? Well, think about it this way. They solve a massive headache for truck drivers and small trucking companies. They handle all the business stuff, all the logistics, so the driver can focus on the one thing that matters: driving safely. This is the job in a nutshell. You're part matchmaker, part air traffic controller, and part crisis manager, all rolled into one. You're the one finding the loads, booking them, and then making sure the whole trip from point A to point B goes off without a hitch. You are the command center for your carriers. To really get it, you gotta see how all the pieces fit together. Okay, so shippers have stuff they need to move. They call up brokers to find them a truck. And that's where you come in. You, the dispatcher, work for the carriers, those are your clients, to grab those loads from the brokers. You're like the central gear that makes the whole machine turn. All right, so you're probably wondering, what do I actually need to do this? It really boils down to two key things. First, you've got to understand the physical trucks and trailers, and second, you need to master the digital tools that help you find the freight. First up, the equipment. On the left, you've got your standard dry van. This is the workhorse of the industry, hauling everything from Amazon boxes to furniture. Then on the right, you see a reefer. That's basically a massive fridge on wheels. It's absolutely essential for moving things like produce, meat, even flowers. Different jobs need different tools, simple as that. And of course, it gets even more specialized. A flatbed is for all the big, awkward stuff that won't fit in a box, like steel beams or heavy machinery. Then you have a step deck, which, as you can see, has a lower section. That's perfect for things that are just a bit too tall to clear bridges on a regular flatbed. Knowing the difference here is how you book the right work. Okay, now let's talk tech. If the trucks are the muscle of the operation, then the load board, well, the load board is the brain. I'm not kidding. This is the single most critical digital tool you will use. It's the online marketplace where all the action happens. See, just having a login to a load board isn't going to cut it. You have to learn how to master it. This is where you hunt for opportunities and turn them into cold, hard cash for your carriers. This is where the money is made. Before you even click search, you have to think like a strategist. You need to know the map. Some places, we call them hot zones, are just overflowing with freight trying to get out. But other places, the cold zones, are basically freight graveyards. Yeah, you might get a great rate sending a truck into a cold zone, but you'll lose every penny of that profit if there's no load to get him back out. And this is what it looks like. This is the load board. It's a live, constantly updating marketplace. You can see where a load picks up, where it's headed, the weight, the equipment needed. All the vital info is right there at your fingertips. The rates, the broker's info, their credit score. Everything you need to make a really smart call and fast. So how do you actually find the good stuff? Okay, number one, filter, filter, filter. Don't waste a second looking at loads your truck can't even haul. Always, and I mean always, check the rate against the market average so you don't get taken for a ride. The best loads disappear in seconds, so you gotta be quick, but never so quick that you book with a broker that has a terrible credit rating. And the golden rule? No deadhead. You're always thinking about the next load to keep those wheels turning and earning. So what's in it for you, right? Let's talk numbers. Let's say you charge an 8% commission, which is pretty standard. You find a nice $2,000 load for your driver? Well, 8% of that is $160. That's $160 in your pocket from one single phone call. Now just imagine doing that a few times a day for a few different trucks. Yeah, it adds up fast. But here's the thing. Booking the load is really just the start. Now you gotta manage the trip. This is what separates a decent dispatcher from a truly great one. Handling the details, fixing the problems, and making sure your carrier is following all the rules. And this rule right here is the big one. It's non-negotiable. Hours of service regulations are federal law, all about safety. You absolutely have to know these rules, inside and out. You can't, for example, book a load that's 700 miles away and tell the broker it'll be there in 12 hours. It's literally impossible and illegal for the driver to do that. Planning your routes around these hours isn't just a good idea, it's the law. And here's another number you need to burn into your brain. $1 million. That's the minimum liability insurance coverage most brokers require from a trucking company before they'll even talk to you. Part of your job is having that proof of insurance ready to email over at a moment's notice. Because, let's be honest, things will go wrong. It's not a matter of if, but when. A tire blows out in the middle of nowhere, the delivery dock closes early, a blizzard shuts down I-80. What happens then? The driver's first call is to you. And when that call comes, you need a playbook. This is where you really earn your money. It's about thinking ahead, checking the weather forecast, knowing about road closures. But most of all, it's about being the calm, cool, and collected one. When the driver is stressed and the broker's yelling, you're the voice of reason with a plan. So once you've got the skills down, you know how to manage the loads, this is where it gets really, really cool. Because freight dispatching isn't just a job you can do from home. It is a completely scalable business. You can literally build your own little empire from your desk. And you've got choices. You can start out small, maybe freelancing for a couple of owner-operators, or you could go get a steady job with a bigger company. Or, and this is the exciting part, you can go all in and start your own dispatching firm, eventually hiring other dispatchers to work for you. The choice is totally yours. And getting started is way less complicated than you probably think. These are the first 3 things you do. Form an LLC. That protects your personal stuff. Get an EIN, which is just a tax ID for your business, and open up a business bank account to keep all the money separate and look professional. That's it. That's the foundation. Look, the trucking industry is literally the backbone of our economy. And dispatchers, we're the nervous system, making all those critical connections happen. It's a career that gives you freedom, serious income potential, and a real chance to build something that's all yours. We've just laid out the roadmap for you. The only question left is, where are you going to take it?